Very good. Just in time. Here. The Dreamcast National Anthem. Well, you could say it was a Dreamcast day before that, but you couldn't say it was a happy Dreamcast day. Happy Dreamcast day.
Select a memory. Select a file. Select a character.
Let's get him!
Yes, this is the Dreamcast version of Sonic Adventure, which most people haven't played, actually. Most people who have played Sonic Adventure have played Sonic Adventure DX on the GameCube or another port. But Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast is considered by some people to still be the definitive version of the game, due to Dreamcast exclusive lighting effects and other graphics that aren't present in later ports.
Oh, yeah! This is happening!
Ah, he said the line. There it is.
What's up?
You are completely surrounded.
I saw Jack
Surrender
Specific.
yourself.
Jack Specific just announced they're making a toy of Chaos with the Master Emerald. I'm gonna get that before the Scalpers do.
Lock on target, man. Ready? Fire!
That's a great question. I think that Sonic Frontiers occupies a different space
Oh no! Our weapons are useless!
because it's
Retreat!
Sonic moving
Fall
into
below!
a Breath of the Wild style open world, which has been done before.
Oh,
and it's
yeah!
kind of
This could be fun!
it's Sonic moving into an established space when really there wasn't an established Sonic Adventure or what Sonic Adventure should be. So this was even more groundbreaking than Frontiers will be, I think. This does handle quite differently than the GameCube version, largely due to the frame rate. Still have a single ring. It's good. The GameCube version of this game does run at 60 frames per second, which is a boost.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time!
I do love that as iconic as this game is and as iconic as it looks, the user interface looks like it's from RPG Maker 2003. I say that mostly endeared.
Come on, you big drip! Where you going?
You know nothing, fool! It's Chaos, the god of destruction!
Hearing this through headphones points out to me that Eggman's vocal mastering sounds like he was speaking into a metal bowl. He recorded those lines. It's so funny because Adventure Sonic in this game looks so much closer to classic Sonic than later 3D Sonics would
What?
look.
Tails? Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Ah, he said the line. There it is.
Tails!
Now it's an extra happy
What am I
Dreamcast
gonna
day.
do with you?
Everyone loves this kid. Oh, talk to the children on the Dreamcast. There we go. Mr. Know-It-All. Now you know. Don't worry if the view suddenly changes. It does that sometimes. Sonic Team's way of saying, our camera's not great, we know that, but don't worry about it. Well, let's go play through this beach stage and save Tails. I think that's important. Then we can play our final game of the mini Dreamcast day. So what does the Sega Dreamcast need to be? Let's say something insightful about it, I suppose. The Dreamcast was, I got it as a hand-me-down from my cousin. And the Dreamcast was one of the first consoles that I was able to have an expansive library for at relatively small cost, if you catch my drift. And the fact that I was able to do that with a 3D console back when I was a kid opened me up to a lot of genres that I wouldn't have really tried to get into. It's where I fell in love with fighting games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, CVS 2, etc., Garo, Power Stone, all of everyone's favorites. And I never really got a chance to play those in arcades because I lived in sunny Cleveland, Ohio, and we didn't really have too many of those. We had some, but they weren't great. And by the time I had the means to really enjoy them, they were on their way out in a big way. And so the Dreamcast kind of brought the arcade home to me, just like it did when it came out. And I thought that was really special, and I think that as a game developer, which I am, if you're somehow not aware at this point, I make video games for a living, that really influenced the sort of things I value in a video game and what I want to make, the sort of things I value in the work that I pursue. I think it was very formative. And without the Dreamcast being woefully copy protected and woefully a failure, despite winning the hearts of the people, I never would have had that. And so I owe a great deal to the Dreamcast. Celebrate it on this day of all days. A thing that a lot of people don't know about how the Dreamcast's copy protection was cracked. It's for this obscure format called Mill CD that was like a multimedia CD format that only Sega ever supported, and I'm assuming they signed some deal with a record company to do it. And there were, I think, 6 or 7 Mill CD games, or Mill CD titles that were ever made. So for some obscure feature that nobody cared about, the Dreamcast had its doors blown wide open. Just their luck. Although, many people say it was piracy that killed the Dreamcast. That was wrong. If piracy hadn't killed the Dreamcast, there are several other key things that were working against it in the long term. It was intermediary technology. It was based on Power VR tech, which was a very odd, kind of non-standard rendering pipeline, which ended up rather forward-thinking in a lot of ways. But it wasn't where the industry was trending at the time. Well, there you go. And also, of course, it didn't have a DVD drive. And that was in part to keep costs down. And it wouldn't have been able to compete with modern game densities. There were a lot of things that were ultimately due to the Dreamcast. But I'll admit that piracy killed it. It's not entirely right.
Jump as soon as you land on a panel or else you'll fall.
There's also, of course, something to be said for that phrase, Sega Blue Skies.
It will take you to panels 2 and 3. Jump as soon as you land on a panel or else you'll fall.
It really is true. Sega did do Blue Skies like nobody else, and it was kind of iconic of their games, what they represented, kind of that easy breezy, carefree, pick up and play nature. That was a big influence on me too. And here is our friend Tails.
Yes! Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.